In a quiet town nestled among rolling green hills, there lived a young boy named Ethan. He was a happy, curious kid, full of dreams, just like any other. He loved playing with friends, listening to birds, and watching the clouds float by. But behind his bright smile, Ethan was fighting a silent battle. Studying was a struggle for him. No matter how hard he tried, the words in his book seemed to slip right out of his mind. Every test, every class, felt like a mountain he couldn't climb. Sometimes, his classmates would laugh at his mistakes, and each laugh chipped away at his confidence. Slowly, Ethan started to believe a terrible thought. Maybe he just wasn't smart enough. One afternoon, long after the school bell had rung and the halls were empty, Ethan lingered behind. He saw his teacher, Mr. Harris, sitting at his desk, lost in thought. Mustering all his courage, Ethan walked up to him. "Sir," he said softly, "I need to talk to you about something." Mr. Harris looked up, his expression warm and kind. "Of course, Ethan. Come, sit down. What's on your mind?" Ethan hesitated, then whispered, his voice barely audible. "Sir, I'm really bad at studying. I try so hard, but I can't remember anything. I can't focus. I feel like I'll never get better. Please, can you help me?" Mr. Harris listened with a patient smile. When Ethan finished, he said gently, "Ethan, you're not alone. Many students feel this way. But the fact that you want to improve means you already have what it takes. I'm going to teach you 5 simple lessons that can change the way you learn forever. The first one is about calming your mind." He took a glass bottle filled with muddy water and set it on the table. "What do you see?" he asked. "Muddy water, sir," Ethan replied. "Exactly," said Mr. Harris. "Now, let's just watch it." They sat in silence for a while. Slowly, the mud settled to the bottom, and the water became clear. Mr. Harris smiled. "Our mind is just like this water. When it's filled with fear, stress, or too many thoughts, we can't see clearly. But when we give it a moment to be still, everything becomes easier to understand. Before you start studying, just close your eyes for 5 minutes. Breathe deeply. Let your thoughts settle. Then begin. You'll be amazed at the difference." Ethan nodded, already feeling a small weight lift from his shoulders. "The second lesson," Mr. Harris continued, "is to focus on the present moment." He placed a small candle on the table and lit it. "Look at the flame, Ethan. Try to keep all your attention just on the flame." Ethan tried, but his mind kept wandering, to his friends, to games, to the test he was worried about. Mr. Harris waited patiently. After a few minutes, Ethan's gaze softened, and his attention finally settled on the flickering flame. "You see," the teacher said quietly, "the past is over, and the future isn't here yet. The only time we truly have is right now. When you study, don't worry about what you got wrong yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Just focus on the page in front of you." Ethan took a deep breath, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. "I get it, sir." "The third lesson," Mr. Harris said, picking up a sponge and a rock, "is to understand, not just memorize." He poured water over both objects. The sponge soaked it up instantly, becoming heavy with water, while the rock remained wet only on its surface. "Some students," he explained, "try to memorize facts word for word, like this rock. The information never really sinks in. But the students who truly succeed are like this sponge. They try to understand and imagine what they're learning. They absorb knowledge deeply. So, Ethan, when you study, don't just repeat what's written. Try to feel it. Picture it in your mind. Connect it to something you already know." Ethan smiled. This made so much sense. He could already imagine how this would help him. "For the fourth lesson," Mr. Harris went on, "you must learn to break big tasks into small ones." He handed Ethan a thick block of wood. "Try to break this," he said. Ethan pushed and pulled with all his might, but the block wouldn't budge. Mr. Harris then took the block and cut it into several smaller, thinner pieces. Now try again. This time, Ethan snapped each piece apart with ease. You see, Mr. Harris said, you can't learn an entire chapter all at once. It's too overwhelming. But you can learn one small part. Study for a little while, take a short break, then study the next part. Step by step, even the most difficult subjects become manageable. Ethan listened intently, a feeling of hope blooming inside him, a feeling he hadn't had in a very long time. And now, Mr. Harris said, his voice warm, the final and most important lesson: practice regularly. He showed Ethan 2 small flower pots. I planted seeds in both of these pots, he explained, but I only watered one of them every day. A few days later, one pot had a tiny green sprout pushing through the soil, full of life. The other pot remained barren, just dry dirt. This is what happens when you're inconsistent, said Mr. Harris. If you study a little every day, your knowledge will grow, just like this plant. But if you study for hours one day and then do nothing for the next 3, you'll stay exactly where you are. Even 20 minutes of focused study each day is more powerful than cramming for hours once a week. Ethan nodded, his heart filled with inspiration. He finally had a plan. In the weeks and months that followed, Ethan put his teacher's lessons into practice. Every evening before opening his books, he would sit quietly, breathing slowly, until his mind felt as clear as the water in the bottle. He broke his lessons into small, manageable parts and took short breaks. He learned to focus only on the present moment, on the single paragraph in front of him. And most importantly, he studied a little bit every single day. Slowly but surely, he began to notice a change. His mind was clearer, his focus was sharper, and his confidence, once so fragile, began to grow stronger. By the end of the year, Ethan's grades had soared. But the real transformation wasn't on his report card. It was inside him. He was no longer afraid of learning. He had discovered the secret of how to learn. Years later, Ethan grew into a successful man, confident, calm, and wise. Whenever he looked back on his life, he knew that the most important lessons he ever learned didn't come from a textbook. They came from one quiet afternoon conversation with a kind teacher who saw his struggle and chose to believe in him. So, if you ever feel lost, overwhelmed, or think you're not good enough, remember Ethan's story. Calm your mind. Focus on the present. Seek to understand, not just to memorize. Break your biggest challenges into small, simple steps. And most of all, practice every single day. Your small, consistent efforts are the seeds of your greatest achievements. Believe in yourself, and never ever stop growing. Thanks for watching, and if this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more content just like this. See you next time.